Okay, I'm going to take the strings off. Just do this bit by bit. If you hear some hissing in the background, it's not the fans going. It's pouring down, and it's been pouring down here in Northern Ireland for 5 hours. Actually, it's 6 hours now. When I posted earlier on my Facebook, it was 5 hours. So, what I'm going to do now is very gently remove these strings with a very gentle they're a bit rusty. They'll never be used again, and I really don't have the patience to pretend to be delicate with them and wrap them up nicely and untwine them and get off the guitar is what I want them to do. Get off and get into the bin. Right, okay, because what I'm going to do next after this is open up the electrics at the back, and I see Georgie girl's already been getting involved. She loves the strings. It's late at night here, and she gets very active at this time of night. The only problem I have with her working with the strings is she might poke her eye, because these can be sharp. And I already had a one-eyed cat called Horatio, and that Horatio was a one-eyed cat that was left in a carrier bag on the door of an animal sanctuary in Malta. And we spent our summers in Malta, and when we found out about Horatio, left in a plastic carrier bag on the door of the animal sanctuary, and in the plastic carrier bag was his brother, who was dead, and Horatio, who had a severe infection of one eye. And thank goodness for Barbara Cassar Torrigiani and oh, thank you. You just carry on there. You play away. And the Malta Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. And there's another girl I should mention, but they wouldn't accept the fact that this little Horatio boy was going to die, and they got him operated on and everything, and he made it. So when we heard about him, we instantly adopted him. I think it cost us £1,500, nearly £1,500 to bring him over from Malta to Northern Ireland. And he only had one eye. That's obviously why he was called Horatio. But I was playing with him in the hall one day, and I threw a ball for him to chase, and he ran slam straight into the wall. And I went, uh-oh. So we tested him. We found out he was completely blind. What he had developed from the wound in his eye was a case of FIP, and it's incurable. Very, very few cats survive. And he had lasted a year with us. And when we saw that he'd gone completely blind, we realized there was something wrong. But it turned out the FIP, is it FIP? FIP, FLV? Anyway, if I'm wrong, I'll put it up in a notice in the thing. But had invaded his whole body, and within a week or so, he was in intensive care, and then we had to let him go because he was suffering so much. And Horatio was the cutest cat. He would catch balls, and he would chase flies, and he'd do everything. Even when he was totally blind, he could still do it. Now you, little monster, there, chasing these strings. Can your public see you? Can your public see you? Eh? There you go. Am I talking and not letting you see? Oh, I didn't have the camera pointed. What I was doing was cutting off the strings at the top. But I was rambling at the same time, so hopefully my rambling kept you amused, even though you couldn't see anything. Right, now you little shit, you have to move. Oh, and there she does. So now I've got that off. I'm going to turn it round and remove the wiring and have a closer look in the wiring. Right, okay, and it's all, as they say, live as it happens. Live from New York City. These. All right, well, look at that. That's an interesting and neat. Must study that. It's very neatly done. It's loose. I haven't seen that done on a guitar before. That's very nice. Well, I must take off the end piece because this is with this. The problem with some of these nice things is they leave you no room for maneuver. I'm going to give it a clean and check it all out tomorrow because it's now 1:45 and I'm feeling sleepy. And the cat is going to come and lie on my arm and go to sleep. Night night. Something doesn't look right here because there's only one wire going to the switch and it's loose. So I'm wondering if, I don't even know if you can see that. Can you see that? Maybe you can't see that, but I can't do much better than that unless you're inside it with me, love. So I think the earth is not connected. I'm just going to check. Let's have a listen. That means that's working. So let's just check that. And I'll check that earth to there. Right, so it looks like the earth is missing off that. This twisted wire is great until it goes wrong. So I spent 2 hours looking at this, find out what's wrong. You know, all this twisty wire stuff that I thought I was neat and nice, it was crap. I hate it now. The earth was missing from here. Earth was missing from here. There was no earth to there. Oh, it was all over the place. So I had to take it all apart and rewire it. And finding the fault took at least that length of time. Fixing it wasn't that hard, but finding it was a pain because I had to take off this as well. All right, I'm complained enough. I'll put it all back together and go to the next part of it. Why on earth would you want to see me taking knobs off? For goodness sake, it's just knobs. Let me just put that and see if that'll do it. Oh, it comes off easy. Is that the loose one? It is, yeah. I'm going to take them all off and give them a tighten. No doubt you know why I'm putting a bit of plastic beneath it. I tell you what, while we're knobbing, hobnobbing. Right, let's have a look at this to see what's caused, why that's all got plastic and. A ginnah. Would you like a ginnah? I've never tasted gin. Plastic tape, but it looks like it's been there for a million years. Another thing I see while I'm doing this is that one of my pet hates. You see, it's an inexpensive guitar, but you see that's all chopped up and wrecked there. Somebody has used the wrong size of screwdriver and has bent it, and it's just a coin would be better. Or one of those things, you know, but the wrong size screwdriver. Let's put that thing back on again. Maybe it's the wrong. Oh yeah, that's why. That's the wrong size. Well, we'll look at that and see it. We'll have to figure out why this is bent. Let's have it just take this off. See if I've zoomed you down already, but let me just see. I'll use my little fingers to get you down. Can you see? This is the screwdriver straight. My screwdriver's perpendicular. You can see how much the screw's bent out of shape. Okay. And let me just go back and back. Right, okay. Now, that's a little bit of a mess. This, what's wrong with this? All right, okay. Have we got something in there too? No, just dust. Quite a bend in that, isn't there? Yeah, right, okay. I'm certainly tempted to replace all the screws in this because I have fender screws. They all cost money, you know, and the fender screws are not cheap. You can get fake ones, ones that look like it, ones that look like them on Amazon, but I find myself spending 60, 70 quid a month fixing guitars, and I never... Yeah, stop your complaining. You like doing it. 60 or 70 pounds a month on your hobby. Who else would not spend that kind of money? Fingertips. Tell you what I'll do. Because I believe that that's a good firm gloss, I'm going to put a little bit of Halford's Switch Electrical Contact Cleaner. Right. Drop on my finger first. And go to a place where it won't be seen inside. And rub it on. No, there's nothing coming off, so it's safe enough to spray on. Right, I switched that. I've done a test. Right, okay. Right, okay, and done that. And then they say WD-40's switch cleaner. If you tested it to make sure that your guitar is not going to melt, it's a very good cleaner. I'm holding the switch inside so it doesn't move. I'm going to give these a little tighten. Oh yeah, they're a bit loose. You know, when I do this, I can actually feel this flexing, so it must be very thin. Yeah, they're all a bit loose. Not anymore, they're not. Okay, right. I'm going to put in some of my genuine 100% Fender screws that came from genuine 100% Fender company. All right, so the screw's too long, so it damages the wood beneath it. This is a little bit of white spirit with water in it. And you know what water does to white spirit? Go on, take a guess. What does water do to white spirit? It sits on the top of it and does nothing to it. But for some reason, I let water get into the white spirit. So I could say something clever like, water and white spirit does a great job of something. But that's not my style. Right, that's nice and shiny. Just those 4 screws. And what I'm going to do is I've got some hammerite. I'll put a drop of that hammerite stuff on it to get it tight. You know, if I was a rich luthier, I could hand this off to my boys, and my boys and girls could then polish it. And I don't. I must tell you, story time. For about 20 years, I was a wedding photographer. Oh, I've done everything, yes. I've done everything. And I took weddings at not expensive funerals, but at fairly large funerals. That could be not fairly expensive funerals, fairly expensive weddings. I think it might be a Freudian slip there. Anyway, yeah, there's this thing in the back of my mind when I say funerals. You know, the first thing a bride sees. Remember, I wonder if you remember that old joke. The first thing a bride sees is the aisle and the altar and him. Aisle, altar, him. And so many brides try to do that as well. That's the worst thing you could do. Anyway, what was I saying? I was a wedding photographer. And I did, maybe 20 years. I did hundreds and hundreds of weddings all over Northern Ireland. And there was another photographer. This all leads into what I was saying earlier, by the way. There's another photographer called HOhner, Henri, and he charged an absolute fortune. He stood beside the camera with a white beard and a cravat and a cloak on him, and he set the bride and groom up, and he would go like this. Take the picture now. Click like that there. And then he would take the photographs back to his studio, blanch them out to their almost pale grey and white, and he got an artist in to hand colour everything in like an oil painting, and he charged an absolute fortune. I don't know what happened to him. He sort of vanished. Maybe he died. He was pretty old whenever I was doing my bit, but that was the way to do it. You know, you just stand there with a cape and a glove and one click, take it. Yeah, so, yeah, well, anyway, that's my little story. I did weddings. I have to find another alternative. There's a missing one there. Right, I'm going to pause now because I want to get ready for this next job, which I think I'm going to try to look for screws, and I'm going to try to do something with this. Well, the gentleman is lucky. I have these screws which fit perfectly. Okay, I think I have a solution to the non-fitting. Can you see it? Right, you can see that this is the wrong saddle and it doesn't have any inners to it. So they put sellotape on it. It's also twisted badly. It's hard to show you, but it's twisted. I'm going to try to straighten that too. So it has to, you can't have sticky tape or something soft. What I have is this tin. It came off some fan heater. It's just a very mild tin. So, and what I did is I cut a piece of tin and rolled it like that to form a shield. And how I rolled it was pretty straightforward. I just put it round the thing and rolled it like that, round and round and round till I got the right thickness. And that fits nicely. And now I'm going to try to straighten this. Do I have anything else that I could use? Yes, I could, but I want to have a better. Right, that's almost it. Yes, that is it. That's perfect. And just see that that fits. Beautiful. Now I'll put the tin on. I'll not bore you with that, but I'll put the tin after it's been cut. I'll give those a bit of a clean before I put them on because everything else is nice and shiny now. That's all looking nice, and I'll put that tin on now and get that done. Still not happy about that screw, but I have a plan, a cunning plan, Baldric. Cleaned that up, and I cleaned that up. Put the little foil things on. They're actually a tin foil of sorts, and they fit fairly nicely and they hold it together. I'll bring it down so that it's not seen, but I can't do that yet. I want to clean that up first because that's dirty and it needs to be oiled. Okay. Another little problem we have is that these nuts just slide off and on too much, but I can open that up by just doing that, putting your screwdriver in there and giving it a twist, and that will open the two prongs up, and there you go, nice and tight. And the same with that one, it's too loose to let track. And so just a gentle persuasion this time, maybe I put too much on that one, but it worked. And this one will be, oh, that's tighter now. So there you are. And I was able to give them a burnish with a bit of sandpaper to make them look like stainless steel. And that's been cleaned up. And oh, it's tight, but I'll not force it on. And that's it now. Now all we have to do is string it, but fix the heads first, tidy up, and then string it and play it. Well, I was bopping along there to Positivity Radio. If you haven't heard of Positivity Radio, it's definitely worth going on to. It's called Positivity Radio. Let me just see. Yeah. Positivity.radio. Nothing else. It is owned by a chap called Noel Edmonds. And Noel Edmonds was extremely popular in the 70s on TV. A lot of people didn't like him. I thought he was fantastic, a genius. He made a fortune. He was also an absolute businessman. But I believe what he's done now is he's living in New Zealand and he's tired of listening to the radio like we all are and hearing the news every day and hearing commercial after commercial. So what he did is he set up this online radio station where you can just choose 50s, 60s, 70s, 30s, 20s, 1910s even, and just press the button and it'll play hit after hit without interruption, without any commercials, without any news. And it's lovely. It's actually quite nice, but I had to stop it because you get copyright strikes and all sort of things, and they'll ask you to cut your music. Anyway, what I've done, this has been strung up. I'm just about to plug it in for the first time since I've rewired it. Let's hope it works. Put the plug on first. Right. Right, no buzzing. No. And we've got volume, which is great. I'm going to tune it and get it up to tune. I'm just going to let the camera run because I'm crazy like that. Right. What I use is an old iPhone 4. It was ready to be thrown out. Right, okay, it's called Pano Tuner, P-A-N-O-T-U-N-E-R, and I think it's very, very good indeed. It sits there, does all the you need to do, and why bother with an expensive tuner when you can get away with that? Forgot to tell you, the neck had a very large underbow. I tightened up the truss rod, but I tightened as much as I dare, and there's still a bit of an underbow there, so it was a bit, I didn't want to swing on that too much, but the underbow was still there, and it's the kind of underbow that I would want on a guitar, perfect, but I don't like to have to swing on it to get that, so it's done anyway. So what do we got? We got some very good action going on there. A little bit better on the high strings than it is in the low strings, so let me lower the low strings down. That's the low strings brought down a bit. Let's see if there's any buzz. Now that's perfect. I love that action. Let me just bring it. Okay, I love it, but let's love it a bit more. Okay. Right, okay. This Dave World of Fun stuff taught me this. You hold down on the 12th fret and you pull the string up to stretch it. But you only need to do that on the wound strings. You don't need to do that on the solid strings. Working beautifully. Cleaned up nicely. And now I'll look at the intonation. If you're not familiar with intonation, let's go through it completely. Hopefully that doesn't start it. That's perfect at the moment. I'm going to show you how to intonate the guitar, and this guitar so far is perfectly intonated. Come on, you can do worse than that. Little bit sharp, okay. B's perfect. Bloody hell, the G's the only thing that's a little bit sharp. So there's no point in me showing you how to intonate a guitar that doesn't need intonated. Okay. Right, okay, so no point in me showing you how to intonate a guitar if it doesn't need to be bloody intonated. I must admit I'm pretty good. I guessed at those, so. This one rocks a little bit, but it's fine. Right, let's check the tuning, and that sounds all right. Not much volume of it. Put the volume up. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is do the strings. Do you want to see the strings being done? I'll tell you what, let's put that down. Now there's nothing that special about how I do the strings. It just is quite neat. I didn't do the strings like this until somebody brought a guitar into me that was done like this. And I thought it was quite neat. The last time I demonstrated this, I ended up about 6 cuts. But leaving the strings on full height and wrapping them round, I hate that. You know the way you get them all wrapped round and big loops and stuff like that there? It just looks ugly. It doesn't float my boat, as they say. So all I do is I grab a pair of little snib nose pliers and I turn it in like that there, which makes the string point downwards so nobody's going to get poked with it. And I do that with all the strings, and it looks quite neat when it's done. It looks like you actually cared about what it looked like, which is interesting. Some people don't, of course, you know, but it also stops you getting stuck. All right, okay, and boy, it can sting when you get stuck. Of course, what am I talking to? I'm talking to guitar aficionados out there who knows the pain of stringing up a guitar. Hey, don't you all? How many cuts and bruises you've got over the years. Right, okay. So to me, that just looks a little bit neater when it's done like that. Can you see it? Yeah. I just think it looks neater. And it looks like you actually took some time to do something with it too, which is also nice. Okay, I'm going to touch up this guitar now. Touch up some marks and around it. Surely you don't want to see me touching up a guitar, do you? Okay, all right, you do. Well, now what I'm going to do is just bluff it up, because I'm not going to put paint on it. I'm just going to use a special black marker. Cheap and cheerful, but it works. So, can you see that? Can you see those marks are now gone? I think it's very nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the whole guitar and do that with a few other little chips and chops. Hide it with a marker. I should have looked closer. That's what you get for being old, Austin. And your eyesight's gone. But that's okay. Okay, that's a little bit better than it was. The holes are filled in and a little bit stained. I'm not going crazy on it, but it looks a little bit better. Okay, this is going to be more difficult even still, but not what I call crazy difficult, because I'm only touching it up. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so I'll give it a little play now and call the owner and tell him to come and take his guitar away. Have I forgot anything? Oh yes, I have forgot something. This is going to be, what I want to do is just touch up that little screw and take away. Now I need my other pair of glasses to get down and dirty on this. Right, okay, so let me just touch up that little screw. Make it black. Okay, that's better than rusty brown, but because it's a little tiny bolt, I can't do much with it. So, okay, I'll come back to you and play now. Whoa, listen to that. Can you see this? I got some overdrive on it. Love the overdrive. Okay, enough playing. You've seen this, and it's playing nicely now, and everything's working well, and it's going back to its owner. So say goodbye to this Rockwood. I can't see what you're seeing, so I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing. Goodbye, and I hope you're not seeing me. It's not about me. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.